Hey, I'm Shuby, and welcome to After Hours, home of the world's largest burrito. Where would you put Guardians of the Galaxy?
The original one?
The first one, yeah. You've got Goated, So Close.
Goated is like
the best
one.
Yeah, Goated, So Close, pretty good, mid, bad but kind of funny, hot garbage, will not watch again and haven't seen.
I feel like I'd probably put it in So Close.
Why?
But it could possibly go in Goated after I look at all the other ones. Because I do really like it. I like the soundtrack. It was really fun. I remember seeing it. It was a good fun one. And I'm partial to the first installment in the franchises. But
I agree, especially when they do it so good like this. Yeah.
So he does
ruin it a little bit for you.
He ruins it for me, but no, I think it's a fun little gang. I think they do the gang getting together really well.
I agree. That's tough. I think I would have put it in Goated.
I just think I think that I wouldn't want to put anything in Goated until I've gone through each one and had my thoughts and then
put it up. Well, I don't know. It's tough for some of these to be the perfect movie.
Yeah, I think Guardians is pretty cool.
I do rewatch this one all the time. So yeah, not a bad option there. Okay, let's see. Iron Man 1. I'm going to put Iron Man 1 in pretty good.
I feel like since it's the first installment, it does really well for it being the very first of the...
and this movie came out in 2008. That was the same year as the Dark Knight, and when those movies came out back then, I was 14, and so these movies were badass, and I remember this was one of my favorite movies.
13.
Whatever. I had my video iPod, and Iron Man 1 I illegally downloaded off of LimeWire, and I put it onto my video iPod. I watched this movie on repeat almost every night. So I'm very fond of this movie, but as we've grown older, as the MCU has continued, this movie has just kind of aged down to pretty good. It's definitely above mid because it's still one that you could go back and rewatch and be like, that was pretty good, and so that's why it belongs in pretty good. Thor 1 is mid. Actually, you know what? Thor 1's bad but kind of funny.
I was gonna say it's not very good, but Natalie Portman.
Yeah, I mean, what makes this movie good is Loki, it's kind of funny because when you look back on old Thor, he's very Shakespeare. The way that his performance is compared to Ragnarok and the later Avengers movies, this is pretty corny. Agent Coulson's really good in this movie. Everything, it sets up Thor really well. The world building for Thor is really well in it. But overall, this plot is kind of meh. But it is kind of just bad but kind of funny. Bye. I love you. So that's why I would put it in bad but kind of funny. These first Phase 1 movies aren't really bad in any regard. I'm going to put it in bad but kind of funny because I'm going to put Captain America in mid. I don't know that I would call this movie bad. It's very, very cheesy, campy, and I love that in this movie. It's just goofy. Very Saturday morning cartoon vibes with this one. But definitely not the best plot or anything. I'm also just very partial to Captain America. I think that out of these Phase 1 movies, though, it's very clear that Iron Man 1 was, the best one to come out until we get to Avengers. But now Iron Man 2, on the other hand, this movie is hot garbage. I don't even... would I put this and won't watch again? I'm kind of leaning towards will not watch this again. I don't really have any reason to go back and rewatch Iron Man 2. The villain is forgettable, Whiplash is whatever. It does introduce Black Widow, but if you just skip this and treat Avengers as Black Widow's intro, it's just as good. I really don't think that this movie is worth it. Bad plot, bad acting, bad villain. I think that takes it just a step below Hot Garbage to a point where I won't even watch it. Like, Hot Garbage is a tier related for boring, but maybe I'll watch it again. But I don't think that Iron Man 2, I don't think it's worth it. Especially when you've already got Iron Man and Iron Man 3 and the Avengers. Like, you get plenty of Iron Man in the course of MCU. So I'm not sure. Why don't you leave the door open? So I don't think I would watch that again. Avengers 1, I think is so close as well. These first movies of putting the team together, making something like out of nothing. I mean, did anyone really, after Iron Man 1 in 2008 and the post-credit scene with Nick Fury and the Avengers Initiative, did anyone believe that it was going to explode into the franchise that it was until this movie came out? Until then, these are what you got. You got Iron Man 1, Captain America, Thor, and Iron Man 2. And these are pretty average movies, right? This is the first movie that gave it potential. I'll do my best to also keep the order of like where I would put them on these categories. I think Guardians is better than Avengers. But this movie, talk about Saturday morning cartoon. Loki is dripping with just cartoonish evil. That scene where he takes the guy's eye out and he puts it in and then he like looks up and like smiles is hilarious because he's just like enjoying it so much. I love reveling in evil. Those kind of villains are always funny. Really concise story, easy to follow, fun plot, good action, good use of all of your characters. First introduction as Mark Ruffalo as Hulk, and I think that was a huge improvement. Big power play to put Mark Ruffalo in as Hulk. Really great addition into the franchise. And I think that this movie is campy, goofy, fun. All these first ones are kind of just fun. And this one belongs in so close. Obviously there are problems with it. Loki's plan isn't the best. It's definitely campy and goofy, which, I mean, to some people makes it not a perfect movie, but very easy to rewatch this one and still have fun. Not everyone's a fan of the Joss Whedon way of writing these characters, but I think for this first go around, it's just quippy enough to be entertaining and not obnoxious, if that makes sense. We'll talk about obnoxious in just a second. Covered it. Oh, we didn't talk about Incredible Hulk. Where is the Incredible Hulk? Incredible Hulk, I forgot that you were part of this first phase, because it's a pretty forgettable movie. However, I think that this movie gets shit on a little bit. I think it's bad, but kind of funny. I like this movie. I like Abomination. I like Ross in this movie. Edward Norton isn't my favorite version of Hulk, obviously. I already said that. Mark Ruffalo does a better job. Liv Tyler does kind of a weird performance all throughout this movie. But overall, I think it's bad but kind of funny. I don't think I would put this in hot garbage yet, because I would still rewatch this movie. It's got a great soundtrack. It's one of the only ones with like an original score. Everything like up here, Guardians like started the trend of using licensed music, but I think that Hulk is not awful for his like only solo outing. It's bad but kind of funny, not awful. The fights are fun to watch. Also pretty goofy with some other things going on, but I don't know. I'm a fan of this one. Iron Man 3 is pretty good. In fact, I would put it above Iron Man 1. This is my favorite of the Iron Man trilogy. I don't think I would put it in so close. There's definitely problems with it. Maybe some pacing issues. I recently rewatched this one with my friend because he hadn't seen it. Maybe some pacing issues. Maybe a little bit over the top on its depiction of panic attacks, and like I like that Tony goes through that character arc, but I don't know if it's totally accurate. Like he does go like, you made me spaz out, and I don't think that's, I think that's almost borderline offensive, but like, I don't know. This movie is really fun. Shane Black directed this one. It's got good dialogue in this movie. The final scene is really fun with all the suits. Him being like Gadget Man all movie is really fun to watch. Where he is without the suit for a lot of the action of this movie. Putting together little like bombs out of ornaments and I don't know, all sorts of goofy stuff, but it is definitely worth the watch if you for whatever reason ended up skipping out on Iron Man 3. I would say go back in and just give it a shot, see what you get out of it. I would definitely recommend this one, and it's my favorite of the Iron Man trilogy. Thor 2. This is a pretty easy one. I'm putting this at the will not watch it again. Not a chance. And if anything, this goes at the bottom of the will not watch again. Like, you never know. There could be potential where I get drunk and I'm going to watch Iron Man 2. Never again Thor 2, I think. This movie is boring. Not fun to watch. No fun villain. The only good thing about it is Loki. He's kind of, and he's not used enough in it to really justify that being a good enough reason for a rewatch. This goes in will not watch again. I am out. Phase 2, man, you're doing me a little dirty, or at least the sequels are. Iron Man 2 and Thor 2, I'm out. Winter Soldier, on the other hand, where's Winter Soldier? The Winter Soldier. This movie's goated. If you don't think Winter Soldier is one of the perfect MCU movies, then you're wrong. This is great pacing, great genre play. That's something that I really appreciated about the MCU in its early stages, is they could take any genre and kind of make it unique to the MCU. Doing a take on a spy thriller with Captain America and espionage, and that's straight out of the comics, bro. Straight out of the comics. I love Zola, where they go and like he's in his little AI thing, like base. The only thing I would say is that the reveal of your twist villain at the end is kind of predictable, but everything with Bucky's great. There's the action scene with Nick Fury getting out of the Winter Soldier's clutches by like Bugs Bunnying himself through like the ground is awesome. There's a lot to love about this movie. I'm a big fan of Winter Soldier. That movie's goated. We already talked about Guardians of the Galaxy. Let's move on to Age of Ultron. Age of Ultron's hot garbage. Will I rewatch this movie? Yes. Is it bad but kind of funny? No, because like I still don't like love this movie. I don't enjoy myself with like the bad of it. Like that's what this category is like bad but fun, right? This is bad but not fun. This is boring too. Will I rewatch it? Sure. It's an Avengers movie. I like Ultron enough. I don't love how the Joss Whedon writing in this one. This is what the difference is between fun, campy goodness, obnoxious, kind of irritating, gets on your nerves to continuously be quipping after everything that you do. Like, they're at the final fight and people are dying. There's a potential of world-ending doom. And they're like quipping robots apart while they're having a blast, and it's like that's not. I don't know. This is kind of stupid. Not for me. I think that they would be taking that situation a little bit more seriously. The first Ant-Man. Okay, talk about... This might be one of the best examples of mid in MCU. I'm going to put Captain America first because I still like it more. But Ant-Man 1 is pretty mid. You got the fun genre play, like with Winter Soldier, where in this one it's a heist movie. I think that elevates this one, is that they do a lot of focus on like the heist aspect of it. But I don't know, performance, overall, like story is very Iron Man in its plot. Where I don't love where the villain at the end is just the hero with like a different suit, and that's Iron Man 1, and that's the same with Ant-Man. I think it just falls a little bit below because you're missing just a straight up charisma of a Robert Downey Jr. being your main character. Like, Paul Rudd is good as Ant-Man, but kind of, I don't know, kind of leans a little bit too much in the funny direction, as much as like this one still was like a good superhero story on its own. This one pretty mid. Kind of a generic plot by the time that Ant-Man came out, right? This is after Age of Ultron. We should be learning from our mistakes. Civil War. Oh man, this is tough. Civil War gets worse every time I watch it, which makes me want to put it in hot garbage, but like, I don't think it's bad, but kind of funny, because it also doesn't make me fun, like laugh. I think if anything, I gotta say that this is mid. I think it really is kind of at the bottom of the mid right now. Like, looking at this right now, I'm more likely to rewatch these two than choose Civil War again at this point. Maybe a little too long for its own good. An ugly movie to watch. Like, these are still colorful and fun. This one's very gray. If you were to ever go back and rewatch it, like, I don't know, the Russos came in here. It handles characters really well. It handles motivations really well. I understand why everyone would be on the side that they're on, but I don't know. It does just get worse every time I watch it. I would say, like, maybe before I'd rewatch it again last time, it would be in pretty good. But seriously, it just takes a step down almost every time. Doctor Strange. Now, Doctor Strange, on the other hand, Doctor Strange's pretty good. I like the first Doctor Strange movie. I would put it below Iron Man because, I mean, again, when you're comparing everything, when you're doing origin stories and stuff, comparing everything to first Iron Man, it is a similar kind of plot of like the prick getting humbled a little bit, right? And Doctor Strange is an asshole. The animated movie, I think, does a better job. But I wish that we had gotten to see him be an asshole longer. Kind of has his character fixed pretty early when he like gets accepted into the monastery. But still a very fun movie. The visuals alone are like worth the watch on this. Generic plot. That's why it goes into pretty good. Like, it's not so close or anything. I think this is an appropriate place for it. Right underneath Iron Man. Guardians 2. I want to put Guardians 2 and Goated. Is Guardians 3 on this list? Guardians 3 is not on this list. Guardians 3 might also be up in Goated, but like, if Guardians 1 gets docked just because it was the first one, you know, you put the team together, whatever, I love Guardians 2. I think this one gets overlooked a little bit in conversation now, because Guardians 3 was also goated. But I think Guardians 2 has an amazing theme. I think it's well acted. I think Kurt Russell does a great job as Ego. I think the action's good in this. The stuff with Rocket is great in this, and it sets up 3 even better. Like, this whole trilogy is great. But I'm going to put Guardians 2 in goated. And this could even be like a placeholder for Guardians 2 and 3. Like, both of them pretty much deserve to be up here. I think that this one has a lot going for it. I think my only complaint might be Baby Groot, like, as a very obvious toy ploy, but, like, jeez. But, I think still goated. Homecoming is pretty good. I would put it below everything on this list already, just because, like, I'm not likely to, like, choose this for a rewatch all the time. I like the Vulture as a villain. I really like the setup for Vulture as a villain, being after Avengers, you know, like getting screwed. I like that it is kind of more street level for Spider-Man, which is good. That scene of him leaving the suburbs and not being able to swing like through trees and like because there's no buildings is great. I think they do a really good job of tackling like teenage Peter Parker. However, like, I don't know, this whole trilogy isn't my favorite. And Tom Holland isn't my favorite. Tobey is my favorite. But I think that's because those original trilogy Spider-Man movies really go kind of in a different direction. I think that this Spider-Man's still a little too cool. This Peter's a little too cool. Like, he gets dunked on a little bit, but like, man, I don't know. He acts like this little kid, I think is what I would say. Maybe like a little too naive. Spider-Man's smart. I would say that even in his Civil War debut, where he's like, do you guys know that really old movie? Like, he would just say, do you guys know Empire Strikes Back? He's not like an idiot. He knows what movie he's talking about. I don't know. Maybe I'm being a little harsh on it, but this movie is pretty good. It's probably my favorite out of his trilogy. Ragnarok comes up here to pretty good. Or so close, I mean. So close. This movie has almost everything that you would want out of these, right? It's got good action, fun plot, good acting. Thor and Loki are really good in this movie. Hulk being a side character that really is a great supporting character in this movie is fun. Taika really did a great job directing it. It's colorful. Fun, cheesy villain. I don't know, like it's a lot of things that you would want out of this kind of a movie. But I will say that it is kind of having that Civil War effect for me, where if I were, the more I watch this, the less I love it. Like for a time, I bet I would have put this into goated. But I think it does kind of lose its charm as you rewatch it. Maybe it's because I noticed a couple of like pacing things that I don't love in this the last time I watched it. But overall, still so close. I think that these are better. Just because maybe of nostalgia at this point. Like I could admit that. But like if I'm putting so close as like I don't know, these share similar things with being campy and all that, but I think that Avengers I get a little bit more out of just because you see all of the characters, and Ragnarok is only really Thor and Hulk. Very fun though. Black Panther, man, I wonder if I'm going to get roasted for this one. Black Panther's mid, but it's probably the best out of the mid. Black Panther is probably best out of the mid. Like, I don't know, people were going crazy for this movie when it came out. There are a lot of things I like in this movie, but dude, there are a lot of dumb things in this movie. Like, we literally watched Black Panther go absolutely ham, chasing down bad guys, dodging bullets, jumping on top of cars all throughout that Tokyo car scene, or yeah, car chase, right? Where he's just jumping from car to car to car, doing all this stuff. And then when Killmonger shows up and steals something, steals a vibranium, right? He gets knocked off the car, and the car drives away, and they like close the van door, and Black Panther just stands there like, you gonna do something, dude? You wouldn't just give up. I don't know. There's some dorky stuff in here. Claw a little bit too much of a character change, I think, from Ultron to Black Panther. Like, he's a maniacal villain in this one. Laughing like a lunatic, doing a bunch of weird stuff that he probably wouldn't have done the first time around. Killmonger's fantastic. I think that the final fight is what really drags this down to mid. horrible CGI, ugly. As soon as they get into the vibranium mines, this is, like, it goes full, like, what the fuck video game am I watching? Otherwise, this has potential to be pretty good, if not so close. Like, I don't know, it had a lot going for it, but that final fight, man, is just ugly as hell. I don't know how that got past quality assurance or whatever. Rough. Infinity War was next. Infinity War, I think nobody will fight me on this one. This one is goated, and it's probably going to stay at the top of goated. This is everything that you want out of your Avengers movies. And the fact that Thanos wins at the end is amazing. Like, this is the Empire Strikes Back of Avengers. And that's what else you need. It's got a great story, good pacing, good use of all of your characters, good action, great dialogue. Like, this is one of the most quoted movies from the MCU, I think. Like, I don't know, I say perfectly balanced, as all things should be, all the time. I don't know, there's a lot to love about that movie. I don't know, this is the one that I like to rewatch the most. It's just fun, good action, like I said, good soundtrack, everything about it is fun. I know a lot of people give our boy Peter Quill a lot of hate for, I mean, there's definitely, like, plot convenience in Infinity War, but I don't know, this is the most Saturday morning cartoon kind of movie that I could ever ask for out of the MCU, and it's only gotten worse from there. But yeah, this is peak. I think this is as good as you can get. Next is Ant-Man and the Wasp, and you know what? This is an easy slam dunk. Ant-Man and the Wasp will not watch again. This is one of my least favorites. I think Thor 2 is probably still worse. Boring. Boring. This movie's boring. The final, like, chase through San Francisco is fun. Like, where he's, like, I don't know, roller skating with buses and whatever, but, I mean, I'm gonna be honest with you guys, I watched this movie once, and I will not watch it again. What is the point of this movie? It is totally boring. Wasp, for your movie being Ant-Man and the Wasp, I'm like, dude, use Wasp more. She's got, like, one cool fight in the entire movie, but otherwise, she's just kind of like a nothing. I don't know, this whole movie is boring. Not worth it, not worth the watch. The plot is just not there. Not there for me. I'm out. Captain Marvel. Okay. I'm gonna put Captain Marvel in hot garbage, but you know what? I like it more than Age of Ultron. There's good stuff to like out of Captain Marvel, but it's the things that happened after that, I don't know, drag this down a little bit. Like, Secret Invasion sucked, guys. Secret Invasion really sucked. Man, I just think that their characterization of Carol was not where it needed to be. I think that she already looks more fun from the trailers for The Marvels. I don't know how good that movie's gonna be with The Marvels, but I don't know. I'm at least more willing to give her a shot now outside of her own stuff. Not because of Captain Marvel, but because of her appearances in Infinity War and Endgame, and the upcoming The Marvels actually looks like they made her more enjoyable to watch. This movie is kind of boring. And I think that when you're doing a Skrull story, that should be like the least boring story that you do. So, I don't know. And Nick Fury is handled best when he is blowing up stuff with rocket launchers and giving command, like, you're ignoring our orders. Well, seeing as it was a dumbass order, I chose to ignore it, whatever the fuck. Like, he's he's good when he's in those roles, but like, I don't know, as an upcoming SHIELD agent, he wasn't that enjoyable. And the fact that Goose tore his eye out is like, after how badass it was in Winter Soldier, where he's like, think about both eyes or whatever, it's like, I don't know, it kind of takes away from Nick Fury's badassness, if you ask me. Endgame's pretty good. I'd probably put it at the top of pretty good. This movie is a spectacle kind of movie. You have to recognize it for what it is. It's less of a plot-driven like movie as much as it is like a spectacle. That final scene is so sick. So fun to watch. Everyone fighting. It is kind of ugly. I don't know why they always do that, where they just make it like a war-torn, awful, gray desolation zone of like destruction and chaos. So like, I don't know. I wish it was a little bit more colorful at the end while I watch my very colorful superheroes take out Thanos' army. I'm all for it though. It goes to pretty good because maybe it's got some pacing issues, like following Infinity War. You're entering into like the sadness of the MCU, like everyone's mourning and grieving and doing their own thing, but like you have to establish that. Yeah, overall, end of the day, I'd say pretty good. Makes me emotional. It's just a fun popcorn movie. But I wouldn't say it's goated. It takes itself pretty seriously. It's pretty long. And for like a time travel heist movie, it takes a while to get there, so some pacing issues there, but very fun. Far From Home, I'm gonna put bad, but kind of like it. I would probably put it above these. Like, I don't love this movie, but I do like Mysterio being used as a villain. Just the fact that they were ballsy enough to be like, let's use Mysterio is cool. But I don't know, man. The whole plot, I don't know. This whole movie's kind of forgettable and not for me. You definitely see like that he is considering his responsibilities of trying to take over for Iron Man, post Endgame story, but I think this was the first sign that the MCU was never going to return to being what it was before Endgame. Like, most things are gonna be downhill from here. But this is still it's funny. Like, it's still an okay time, but I recognize that this movie is, like, definitely worse than Homecoming, all these things above it, just for being, like, less cohesive as much as it is kind of goofy. I don't know how to describe it better than that. But yeah, I'm gonna keep that around the bad but kind of funny. Like, I'm definitely would rewatch this more than anything below it. Black Widow. I will never watch this movie again. It was probably better than those down here, but this movie also was boring. You could tell this was like a COVID movie. Yeah, this movie was not fun to watch. Bad action, bad dialogue, bad performances, and boring. It's not funny, it's not hot garbage. I'm never watching this again. For sure. Like, Iron Man 2 is probably the one that I'm most likely to rewatch out of these if I ever go back, but I mean, I think that this is pretty fitting for that category. Shang-Chi's pretty good. It again falls kind of like in this Iron Man category, like of like they do origin stories pretty good. They're a pretty good origin story. I will probably put it on this side just because it is kind of in between that mid and pretty good. There are scenes for sure that are boring in this one too, but the action's good, performance is good, story's kind of fun, like decent set pieces. Like, I put this in pretty good. This might be one of the few that make it up that high, but it's okay. I'm more likely to rewatch this than these. God, is that even true to myself? I don't know, but I'm gonna keep it in pretty good. Well, this is very easy. Very easy. Where's Eternals? Here it is. This is the bottom of will not watch again. No, thank you. I am out. Eternals sucked. Eternals sucked. This is by far my least favorite MCU movie. The only thing that made me laugh is that there's like a sex scene in like the first 10 minutes, and I was like, what is this MCU's first like graphic sex scene? But no, this movie is the definition of boring. I'm out. Never again. This is my least favorite MCU movie. Just took itself too seriously. I think that there's a lot of potential with the characters that you were working with. I don't know what's up with like taking these Superman characters and just making them a misery fest to sit through. I'm sick of it. I want a little bit of whimsy, and this movie did nothing for me. I'm out. This is too boring. Spider-Man No Way Home is also in that category. Where is he? Oh, there it is. It's probably at the top of mid. I think some people are going to call me crazy, but I already said Spider-Man Homecoming is my favorite out of his trilogy here. No Way Home is definitely better than Far From Home. But like, it is a movie that I like less every time I watch it. It's got that Ragnarok effect, but it's not it in a more extreme way. This movie kind of pisses me off. They had a lot of good things to do here, and I'm not sure that they hit the mark with everything. And also what this means for like this version of Peter is like, this is a very unique version of Spider-Man. To have his first interaction with Green Goblin not even be from his own universe, his most evil villain, like, I don't know, this has a lot more implications than I think people were willing to give it like that kind of credit for. And I'm just saying, I just like it less every time I watch it. Kind of turns into a cameo fest. Some characters are not used well at all. My boy Sandman? You did my boy Sandman so dirty. Lizard? Like, I don't know, there's a lot that is wrong with this movie. Does it use the, like, good ones well? Like, Goblin and Doc Ock? Yeah. Of course, Willem Dafoe is never gonna come in and give a bad performance, guys. Like, I don't know. And it was obviously fun to see Toby and Andrew again, but even then I'm like, give me a little bit more with them. This movie's pretty mid if I were to go back and watch it again. I'm interested to see how they tie in maybe some Into the Spider-Verse, Across the Spider-Verse stuff with this version of Peter, because, I mean, he's definitely fucked up his canon events, if they do anything like that. But I don't know. I do really like the ending of this movie. I think that the, like, getting wiped from everyone's memories is kind of like, you're setting Peter, like, the best part about this trilogy is that this whole trilogy is his origin story for being Spider-Man as a whole. I like that. I think it really did a good job tying off, like, that transition from teenage Peter Parker to college, like, adult Peter Parker, you know? But I don't know, like, how the plot even gets started is really contrived. There's a lot of things just don't age well with this movie. I don't know. That's my 2 cents on No Way Home. I think it's just kind of at the top of mid. It's in between these Spider-Man movies for me. I think I'm feeling pretty safe about this, actually. The order, too. Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness. I think that this movie... Oh, we're going to have to go back and do, like, the TV shows, huh? Because I'm going only out of the movies in order. Oh, my bad. I didn't even think about that. But that's okay. We can finish up with the TV shows. Multiverse of Madness, I think, is a movie that gets shit on a little bit too often. I want to put it in pretty good. I don't think that this movie's mid. In fact, I kind of want to... Man. Am I feeling that good about it? No. You know what? It's better than its own prequel. So, Multiverse of Madness, I'm gonna put in between Iron Man and Doctor Strange because, like I said, maybe it's just nostalgia really hurting me on these ones, but Iron Man's kind of a baseline for these movies. I think Multiverse of Madness gets shit on more than it needs to. I think it's still a very fun movie. You guys are forgetting how well this movie's editing is. Like, this movie's edited in a very good way. There are some good scary scenes in here. Like, this is a Sam Raimi movie more than it is a Doctor Strange movie. If you see it kind of through that lens of, like, just campy fun, then this is still a pretty good movie. There's that scene where, like, Zombie Strange shows up with, like, the cloak of the undead. Like, there's good stuff to like about this movie, guys. Like, if you're just into, like, the weirdness of it. However, I think calling it the Multiverse of Madness is a huge misstep because, holy fuck, you go to, like, 2 places. You can't call it the Multiverse of Madness if you're not going to be traveling around the multiverse constantly. I don't think we had enough set pieces. I think that there are times in this movie where it feels cheap. Where, like, the entire time they're on Illuminati planet. Illuminati verse. Like that, it can feel kind of cheap. I think you definitely get the idea that this is still, like, a studio in peril because of COVID. This came out in, what, 2021? Yeah. So, I don't know, there's definitely some problems with it, but it's still fun. Scarlet Witch is a good, scary villain, dude. That scene where she is raiding Kamar-Taj, and it just cuts to all of them scared, and then the lips just show up behind the one guy's ear with the run. Oh, goosebumps. That's a fun moment. I think this movie gets shit on more than it deserves. Look past the politics, guys, like the fan casting of John Krasinski as Mr. Fantastic. They can recast him. It's a multiverse. It was a cameo. It's okay. Like, I mean, if you're mad at this for being cameo fest kind of the same way I was with No Way Home, I totally get it. I think that this movie is more fun than No Way Home. It's edited more fun. It's more interesting to watch. Black Panther Wakanda Forever. Guys, I think this is going to be the only one that I haven't seen. I think it's the last one that oh no, I haven't seen Hawkeye. I guess I can just throw that on there now too. Oh, or Miss Marvel. I watched the first episode of Miss Marvel. But yeah, I will watch Wakanda Forever. It's been on my list. Me and my friend have been trying to, like, complete the MCU together. So, like, as easy as it would be for me to watch this on my own, I'm going to wait until I watch it with my buddy so that we're just done with it at the same time. But yeah, Wakanda Forever. I do have interest in seeing this. I've heard mixed things, I guess. Mostly leaning towards on the positive side. I think it's going to be worth the watch. In fact, I'll put it at the top of haven't seen so that I know, like, this is the one I want to watch the most. Don't really have any interest in watching Hawkeye or Miss Marvel. It's just the way it is. Kind of just, these fell behind a little bit. But I have seen everything else on the list, so we're good. Okay. WandaVision's... Man, I'm kind of torn on it. I wanna put it kind of at the bottom of mid, on the verge of bad but kind of funny, because WandaVision I really like until I don't. The ending of WandaVision I think sucks. But the opening is good. There are some eerie moments in there. There's good, like, where you're just like, I'm not sure what's going on yet. Like, and then once you find out what's going on, it gets a little bit worse. I think that the intrigue and the mystique of, like, that opening, though, is good. I think that the show overall, being the first TV show, puts it a little on the leg up. I think that this was a fun show to watch, worth the watch, still worth the watch. I just don't love the ending. I think that just puts it in mid. especially since it's in that TV show category. You either have to crush it, or you're just going to be mid or below. That's just how it is, because these TV shows just stretch out the material for too long. They just stretch it out for too long. I think WandaVision would have been an excellent movie. Don't know how to say it other than that. Falcon and the Winter Soldier. This is probably going into the will not watch again. Like, at the end of the day, it is hot garbage. Like, there's stuff I did like about it, but just gets a little too ham-fisted. It gets a little too contrived. The plot is a little all over the place. I think that this is not worth the watch if you missed it. And it's definitely not worth the rewatch. So I think I'm out on Falcon and Winter Soldier. It is not below Eternals. It's not below. Like, it's definitely. It's probably on the higher end of this. It's better than Black Widow. That's what I'll use as my baseline. Is like, were you that boring? But this show is boring, so it's gonna go here. In the will not watch again. I don't think I have any interest in revisiting that show. Loki, on the other hand, Loki goes into pretty good. Would I put it above? I think I would. I think I'm gonna put Loki right here. Obviously, it's a bigger commitment to go for a rewatch. However, this is a pretty good show, guys. Interesting plot, interesting characters. I like Sylvie. I like being the Enchantress. I like Tom Hiddleston just as a good Loki. I like Owen Wilson as Mobius. It sets up Kang in a good way. I think that there's a lot to like about this show, and it is worth the rewatch if you are gearing up for final MCU stuff, or MCU stuff moving forward, just because this really sets up the multiverse. And for doing that, and introducing TVA, all this stuff, I think that this is a good show. Fun, good energy. I don't really have a lot of complaints about it. Other than I can't wait for more, or a movie or something out of it would be great. What if, dude? Now, here's the thing. I liked What If. Do I want to put it at the top of mid? Not all of them were great. Some of them were just straight up rehashes of the original plot. Like the Captain Britain story with Peggy. I mean, that's almost beat for beat Captain America's story, just with Peggy instead. So, I don't know. There are some bad ones, I guess. I'm going to put this at the top of bad but kind of funny, because what I like about this show is what I like about all these kind of shows. I like Visions, Star Wars Visions. I like the shows that give you the franchise, give you the material that you're familiar with a twist. Every episode is something new. And, there's enough to like about What If, but I don't know, maybe it's that final episode with like Watu and like Ultimate Ultron that is at the end there, where he's going crazy and trying to go through multiverse, and I don't even remember how it ends. All I know is it was fun to watch. The Killmonger episode was fun to watch. I'm gonna put it in bad but kind of funny, because if you're going to be sitting down for those TV shows, like I said, you either got to be really good, like Loki, or you're just going to be kind of mid or below. Moon Knight. I'm also going to put it in bad but kind of funny, but I'm going to put it on the back end of this. Like, I think I am more likely to rewatch everything above it, because again, being a TV show, it's a harder commitment to make. I don't think I would put it in hot garbage, because I did enjoy my time with Moon Knight. The finales were really good. I don't know. His performance is good. Oscar Isaac is a good actor. So, I think that there's enough to like about it, but to recognize that like it's still just bad though. Like kind of just a below average show, longer than it needed to be. Doesn't necessarily handle Moon Knight the way that like he would be comic accurate or whatever, but like, still good enough. Good enough. Bad but kind of funny. I liked it enough. I liked my time with it, but probably wouldn't go for a rewatch just based off of the commitment of a show. I'm not going to put that in the will not watch again, though, because I would still recommend it, I think. Love and Thunder, dude. Love and Thunder is hot garbage, and it's probably at the bottom of hot garbage. I'm not going to put it in will not watch again, because I think maybe I don't know. Maybe this is a sleeper hit. Maybe this is one where we look back on and go, yeah, it wasn't that bad. But for now, I don't know. I like Christian Bale in this movie. I like Jane Foster, Thor. Like, I don't know. There are good things in here, but man, this is edited poorly. There are scenes that are acted poorly. The action's not very interesting. The dialogue's definitely not interesting. And it's pretty boring. So I'm gonna put it in hot garbage. Maybe I need to give it another rewatch to see where my final standing would be with it, but I think hot garbage is fair. She-Hulk. She-Hulk's also bad but kind of funny. I didn't finish the show. I know how it ends. I'm going to put it on the end of bad but kind of funny since I didn't finish it. I can see how people could get the appeal from this show. Like, I don't know, man. It just wasn't for me. I think maybe people were being a little too harsh on it when it was coming out. Maybe I need to finish it to see where my final standing would be, but I don't think it goes above mid. If that like helps anything, I don't think it goes above mid. I don't think it falls into this pretty good category at all. If anything, it would be on the like bottom end of mid if we were gonna put it there. It would have to be better than all of these, which I don't see it being. So I don't know. I think I'm gonna put it at the end of bad but kind of funny for now, just out of my own experience with it. Werewolf by Night. Werewolf by Night, man. Dang, I really enjoyed my time with Werewolf by Night. I don't know if I would put it in that, like, so close. We were so close to greatness category, right? Like, this is pretty... these top ones are very reserved. But I do want to put it on pretty good. I think I'm going to put it on the bottom of pretty good, because I would say Loki's still probably better. This is really fun for what it is. The little mini-series with the, Midnight Suns kind of characters, like Werewolf by Night. It's edited well, it's shot well, it brings back a lot of callbacks to really campy horror movies from like Universal monsters, you know. I think that this is definitely worth a watch, and it is probably worth a rewatch during like Halloween season. Like I said, it really does fall into that like callbacks on old Universal monsters. If you like that kind of campy, like I like the campiness, obviously, like is where my favorite MCU stuff comes out of. So it was pretty good. I was happy with this one. It's pretty good. We got a good little bell curve. We're leaning towards more in the pretty good category, I guess. Holiday special. I thought that this was hot garbage for what it was. Like, I mean, it's still a James Gunn Guardian property, but it's about them kidnapping Kevin Bacon, and Mantis and Drax are probably the two most annoying Guardians when they are just together without anyone else there to balance them out, or to point out their, like, ridiculousness. So, I mean, fun kind of adventure for Mantis and Drax, but I'm probably not going to watch it again. Maybe I should put it in the will not watch again. I don't know what it is with, like... I mean, it's definitely not worse than Eternals and Thor, though. I'll just put it, it was worse than Falcon. I don't think I'm going to watch this again. I didn't really get the holiday special of it. Like, it's not like I'm going to be like, oh shit, it's Christmas time, I better watch the Guardians holiday special. Nah. Like, I watched it the one time, I think I'm okay. We'll leave it at that. Like, this was, whatever. Kind of a waste of my time. Quantum Mania goes into the bad but I kind of liked category. I don't know if I'm a crazy person for saying that. I am more likely to rewatch Incredible Hulk than I am Quantumania. That I know for sure. But it's bad, but kind of funny. Kind of funny. Kind of liked it. It was okay. Maybe I'm a little delusioned at that point because we watched Quantumania the same night that we watched... Shit, what were we watched the Dungeons and Dragons movie, Ant-Man Quantumania, and Transformers The Last Night. Like, I think those were our triple feature for the night. And Ant-Man was probably the best out of the three of them. And so maybe in my head, I'm like, Ant-Man wasn't that bad. But that's because when I compare it to the three that we watched that night, like, I hated the Dungeons and Dragons movie. And Last Night was boring. So Ant-Man at the end of the day was at least something. But I don't know. It, like, obviously it's not good. It's obviously not good. The plot is all over the place. There are scenes with, like, the old folks doing their own thing, like Janet and Hank Pym, like, just that are boring. There are too many scenes that are boring for this to really go above into mid. But I don't know, like, I like the scene where he keeps, like, replicating over and over again. I like, I do kind of like MODOK in this. He's kind of a goofball. I don't look like a dick. I don't know. It's definitely not what it needed to be. As, like, introducing Kang as more of a, like, solid villain. Like, Loki did a better job introducing Kang. This Kang is kind of meh, especially for the version of this Kang that they tell you it is, where he's, like, Ultimate Kang, and then they exiled him because he's too extreme of a Kang. Like, this is Kang that the other Kangs don't want to work with. I don't know, and he was kind of a pushover at the end, really. I don't see, they build him up to be World Ender Kang, and I don't see it. Definitely not my favorite. I'm gonna put it above these two because I'm always more willing to rewatch a movie than a show. But, like, obviously I'm more likely to rewatch these than Quantumania. So I think that leaves our MCU tier list pretty much done. Are we forgetting anything? So this is where I would leave the tier list for now. I think I'm pretty happy with that.